An employer will always say that they care about that, but really, at the end of the day, they really don't. And unfortunately, I'm the one who's actually bearing that cost. Masking can be innately difficult to uncover because we've been ingrained from a very early age to fit in, to not make ourselves seen, to not make ourselves difficult, to fit ourselves into the round hole despite being a square peg. Because of that, and because it has just almost become second nature, it's very often difficult to uncover what it is that we're actually masking and who our true selves are. Once we can find out who we really are, then we can start being more authentic and start honouring the needs that we've always had but have suppressed in order to fit ourselves in. One of my needs, to be understood, I don't think is ever going to be met. I'm actually really sad about that, but I've come to the realisation that, the world doesn't actually care what I want. People around me, the ones who love me, do, of course. My family, my friends, they care, and that's fine. But when you consider like an employer, for example, and you know that I've been having issues there, they don't care what I need. They care that I get my job done. They care that I measure up to whatever their standard of meeting that is, regardless of whether I need accommodations or not. And that's the reality of living in a neurotypical world. The consideration for my own personal needs is only met when it needs to tick a box to serve a purpose, not actually for the reasons that they say, and that's for my health and my wellness. An employer will always say that they care about that, but really, at the end of the day, they really don't. They care that your health and wellness is met to the degree that it's not going to cost them anything extra above your wages to pay you to do the job that you're employed to do based on a neurotypical standard. There is never a consideration for your disability. There is never a consideration for how you might do the job better or to expand on that role and how better served the business might be when they meet your support requirements. And unfortunately, that is living in a neurotypical world. So part of the things that I have learned across this journey is that I have to then, knowing that the world is not going to meet what I need, I have to meet it. So I need to understand what it is that I need so that I'm safe, so that I can try and put myself in a position where I can have a nervous system that's regulated and not dysregulated, so that I can feel healthy, so that I can live a life that feels, like that it meets with, I'm not quite sure how to put it in words, so that I can have a life that is happy for me. That reminds me, my grandson is starting to say a lot more words and babble a lot more, and one of his latest words that he loves is happy. So that kind of reminded me of that. Yeah, everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to have a life that, serves them. At the end of the day, you work so that you can have a life outside of work. You're not living for your job. You're not living to meet whatever your employer needs. Everyone does their job, and if they're really lucky, they've got a job that they are passionate about and they love, and it doesn't feel like work. And those are the minority, right? The rest of us whilst we might be passionate about our job, it's not what, gets us up every morning. What gets us up every morning is being able to spend time with friends and family, being able to pursue the things that we love outside of the job that we do that pays all of the bills so that we can do all of that. So that's probably one of the biggest things for me, has been learning what my masking journey has been and how to unravel that. And then understanding too that there is always going to be a cost to unraveling a masking journey. That there is always going to be a portion of misunderstanding that I'm never ever going to be able to unravel, unwind, just the world, unfortunately, in a variety of different ways, is never going to fully understand neurodivergence, how a different neurotype presents in a neurotypical world. They're not going to educate themselves around what autism means. They're not going to educate themselves around how I find certain things more difficult than others, and how in some circumstances and situations I can just breeze through. They're just not going to do that. No one cares enough to understand each individual. No one has enough time to do that. That's why you have to do that for yourself. You have to make sure that your particular health needs, your particular support needs are met. And that means advocating for yourself. It means standing up and using your voice and finding out, what your local disability regulations are, so that you can hold your employer accountable to those, and so that you understand what your rights are. The fact that I've even, still had to bring in the union, to me is just really disconcerting, that I've got an employer that I have to hold accountable. It's exhausting. I'm still exhausted. I mean, I know you can hear it in my voice that I'm not 100% yet. And the more talking I do, the worse it is. So I'm going to stop soon. Life is not going to be 100% perfect for anybody. But we've got to make the most of it. And where we're able to help each other, where we're able to advocate for each other and speak up and say, hey, no, that's actually not okay, then we get to do that. So I've just been to the marina and just wanted to check in and see what's available with the staff that are there who know me, and was shown a boat that wasn't listed previously, that is within the price range that I'm looking in, and it looks lovely, but it does look older. And the concern for me with an older boat is that, just looking at another one that's quite big. The houseboat looks quite nice. Just checking out the houseboat that he was talking about just as I'm driving past the marina from the roadside. A boat would be fantastic, not an issue with that, but the problem with an older one is the upkeep. An older houseboat with construction with timber means that if it hasn't been well cared for, then the upkeep would be quite considerable. You're talking about wood rot, things like that, because obviously on the ocean, things like that happen far more frequently if it's not well maintained. Maintenance on boats is quite costly, equal probably to a standard home if it's continuously maintained. But all of those things need to be looked into, and obviously there's a cost, as I've said previously in other videos, about the cost of a survey, so that you understand the value of something and any particular issues that are really need to be taken care of or that might be upcoming based on the surveyor's knowledge of upkeep. So there's lots of things to consider, but either way, nice to spend a Sunday out and in the sunshine, especially when I'm still recovering. My voice is still very scratchy, and so talking a lot probably isn't a great idea. Anyway, happy with getting out and checking out those things. There's a couple of other boats. The guy at the marina gave me a couple of names, people to call, brokers, with some other listings that they had up in their window. So I'll do that when I've got some space. And watch this space. If this is the kind of content that you like, if this is something that you believe someone else might benefit from seeing, please share, please hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.